We have some breaking news to start with now, as new details have emerged regarding Shane McMahon's negotiations with AEW. According to Fightful Select, a source close to McMahon confirmed that Tony Khan made no effort to continue discussions after their July 29, 2024 private meeting near Arlington Airport. Fightful's report stated that during their initial meet, McMahon had allegedly requested equity and the ability to run things within the company. Fightful also reports that Tony Khan and Shane McMahon were originally expected to meet again to further their discussions, but that meeting never materialized. Why? Fightful states that Khan perceived McMahon's remarks as jokes and perceived that Shane lacked the necessary product knowledge and familiarity with AEW's business model to legitimately run things. McMahon reportedly didn't take the situation personally after learning of Tony Khan's lack of interest to meet again. Sources from AEW stated that Tony Khan informed his management team that the two sides had a meeting but are not working together without going into detail. The biggest and most intriguing takeaway from all of this, a Shane McMahon AEW appearance isn't entirely off the table. Fightful states, the source close to McMahon that we spoke with claimed that they wouldn't rule out a cameo appearance, but didn't think they would extensively do business together at this stage. So while Shane McMahon's AEW talks ultimately went nowhere, the possibility of a shocking one-off appearance still lingers. Would you like to see Shane O'Mac make a surprise appearance in AEW, or is it time for him to move on? Drop your thoughts below. Speaking of returns, WWE Smackdown will see a blockbuster return, as The Rock has been confirmed for tonight's episode of the Blue Brand. Not only has WWE confirmed The Rock's return, but they've confirmed that he will be the final boss, teasing that fans will get to see the heel character they first witnessed in 2024. Having The Rock return in the middle of WrestleMania season is certainly interesting, and has left many believing that his role tonight will have an impact on the two-night show this April. For months, there's been speculation about what role, if any, The Rock would play at WrestleMania, with a showdown with Cody Rhodes being the idea for some time. That's no longer the plan, as Rhodes will learn of his WrestleMania challenger at the Elimination Chamber PLE, and perhaps The Rock's return will set up the long-awaited Roman Reigns match. With that said, it's been rumored that a triple threat with CM Punk and Seth Rollins is in Reigns' future at WrestleMania, leaving fans to wonder what exactly The Rock has in store. Whatever it is, fans won't have to wait long, as the bold and disruptive, unpredictable, and dangerous Brahma Bull will have something big to say during tonight's SmackDown. But what are you hoping to see from The Rock? Who do you want to see him face at WrestleMania 41? Share your thoughts and ideas down in the comments section. Over to TNA, as the company is officially walking with Elijah after the former Elias made a surprising debut on this week's Impact in Orlando. It's since been confirmed that Elijah has signed a 2-year contract with TNA Wrestling, putting an end to speculation and rumors previously linking him to AEW/Ring of Honor. Elijah's debut saw him interrupt a Joe Hendry Championship concert, during which he arrived with his signature guitar and delivered his own musical promo. This led to a Walk with Elijah chant to the tune of Seven Nation Army, and the segment ended with Santino Marella booking the pair in a tag team match. The pair would face two more debuting stars, as former WWE tag team The Colognes arrived in the Impact Zone, though the main event saw Elijah get the pinfall victory for his team. Though Hendry and Elijah got the win, the mystery isn't over, as it's reported that Elijah filmed a vignette with the Righteous, who remain with AEW and ROH despite not being used as of late. What this means for the tag team is unclear, but Elijah filming content with them and then signing with TNA, who are partnered with AEW's rivals in WWE, has raised eyebrows. With Elijah now part of TNA, the company just added a major name to its roster, but what's the deal with the Righteous connection? Let us know what you think down below. On this week's NXT, TNA X Division champion Moose arrived to confront Oba Femi, and the ruler didn't let this interruption go unanswered. The pair said that a one-on-one showdown will happen, but time will tell when it finally goes down, and it's clear that champions aren't immune from the ongoing talent exchange. During this week's TNA Impact, the reigning NXT champion made his way to the ring to stop Moose, which was a huge surprise to the fans who chanted along with Femi. Femi didn't get physical, but his presence alone was enough to make a statement, as Moose and the System fled the ring while Femi stood side by side with the Hardy Boys and Leon Slater. A match has been booked pitting the System's Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and Moose against the Hardys and Femi, though this is a showdown that Moose was far from happy about. On Impact, Tessa Blanchard made her presence felt, though not in the way fans expected, as she opened the show with a fully heeled promo, but when it was time for her match, she refused. The crowd in Orlando's Full Sail Arena weren't having it, and referencing her controversial past, chanted "She's a racist" at the former Knockouts champion. Santino Marella, TNA's Director of Authority, had had enough of Tessa's actions and declared that if she doesn't wrestle next week, she's fired from TNA. This earned a big pop from the fans, and shortly after, Masha Slamovich wasted no time in confronting Blanchard and made clear she wasn't impressed. The crowd took the moment in and broke into a chant of "Please don't wrestle," clearly wanting Blanchard gone from the company as per Santino's ultimatum. Blanchard may have dodged a fight for now, but Slamovich was ready to fight and made quick work of the opponent that Tessa was supposed to have wrestled. Just when it looked like things were wrapping up though, Cora Jade shocked the fans by jumping into the ring and attacking Slamovich, stunning the fans in Orlando. Santino Marella then made a match official as NXT's Cora Jade will challenge for the TNA Knockouts Championship against Slamovich at Sacrifice. Femi and Jade weren't the only NXT names around as Tyson Dupont and Tyriek Igwe, who had Wes Lee in their corner, took on the Rascals Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel. With Ace Austin backing them up, the Rascals got the win, but after the match, Lee jumped in the ring and laid down the challenge for a 6-man tag team match at Sacrifice. Sacrifice is shaping up to be a huge event with plenty of NXT and TNA crossover, and it remains to be seen who's left standing tall on March 14th. Earlier this month, it was confirmed that Sonya Deville had been cut from WWE, ending a lengthy tenure with the promotion that began in 2015. On her YouTube channel, Deville discussed learning of her exit and revealed that at the time, she was actually negotiating a new contract with WWE. When she saw her phone was ringing, she assumed that higher-ups were calling to offer a middle ground, not to be told that we're not renewing your contract. Reflecting further about her exit, Deville shared that WWE is a business and made a business decision, but is proud that she can say she put 150% effort in the entire 10 years. Deville recalled moving to the Performance Center during her recovery from injury so that she could lose any ring rust. Such was her commitment to giving her all in WWE. Sonya Deville landed a movie role just 1 week before being cut from WWE and is looking forward to the future as she told viewers, "I'm excited, I have a lot of things coming up." Whatever Deville has coming up, it won't be in a WWE ring, despite the former Tough Enough contestant giving her all and then some throughout her decade under contract. As we said, Sonya Deville was shocked to learn that WWE would not renew her contract, especially given that they had been renegotiating at the time of her release. On a recent edition of the Wrestling Outlaws podcast, though, EC3 opened up about WWE contracts expiring and how who's going to be released is kept top secret. He said, "There's only really a handful of people who know who's on the bubble or who's going to be released, and then there's an even smaller handful of people who know it's actually going to happen. So I think that could be a real easy disconnect that media tour booked by this person is lost in the shuffle." EC3 suggested that it's very easy for things to become disconnected in WWE, and that is possibly why Deville and her negotiations got lost in the shuffle. EC3's belief is that despite being in the midst of negotiations and promoting WWE, Triple H and his team may have already planned for Sonya to leave once her contract ran out. It's an interesting take, especially as Deville was under the impression that she'd be signing a new contract soon when she got the call about her deal not being renewed. Ultimately, the only people who will truly know what Triple H and his team were thinking are the Game and his associates, and all Deville can do now is focus on her future career. As a veteran of WWE, Charlotte Flair has seen it all in WWE's women's division, and when it comes to seeing the future, the Queen has got a clear answer. During an Instagram live session on Thursday, Flair was asked who is the future of WWE's women's division and had a clear answer in mind. She stated, "I was extremely impressed by Roxanne in the Royal Rumble. I think she killed it, so my vote is Roxanne. She has a really bright future." With this endorsement and a spot in next month's Women's Elimination Chamber, all eyes are on Perez to see if she can live up to the hype, and will she be the next top star? Sound off below. So far, 2 names have been confirmed for this year's Hall of Fame, Triple H and Michelle McCool, but WWE could be shaking things up for this year's ceremony. Though there's been speculation about Vegas' Sphere as a possible venue, that hasn't been locked in yet, and instead a big format change could be on the way. WrestleVotes reports that WWE isn't happy with the trend of holding the Hall of Fame ceremony immediately after Smackdown, leading to talks of moving away from this idea. This may explain why, so far, WWE has given no promotional material stating when or where the Hall of Fame will take place, as it may not come after the April 18th Smackdown. Instead, WWE is exploring other options for the event, which could mean a standalone show at a different venue, or even a completely new approach to the induction process. With WrestleMania 41 creeping closer, fans are left wondering, will WWE return to the traditional format, or are they planning something bigger? What's your ideal setting for the Hall of Fame? Should WWE bring back a classic venue or go all out in Vegas? Let us know your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. We've got Goldberg news now, as his final match is officially going to happen this summer, though the exact date of the show remains up in the air. On his CarCast podcast, Goldberg spoke about preparing for his farewell bout and the high expectations he has for himself in the ring. He said, "I have a match sometime this summer. I don't know when exactly it is, but I know it's coming up, and I know at 58 years old I have to be in my underwear in front of everybody, and I hold a very high standard of myself." To get ready, Goldberg has made major lifestyle changes, including ditching Copenhagen smokeless tobacco and adjusting his diet. Goldberg, like many wrestlers, has undergone stem cell therapy treatment to prepare, which, while successful, has left him waiting 3 weeks before he can lift again. He added, I feel like $1 trillion. Whether it's from the stuff that I altered my life prior or the stem cell treatment after a day, I feel like $1 million comparatively. You have to be logical, but it's like you're a racehorse again and you're being held in a stall and you can't come out for a period of time. Goldberg's final match is coming, but the question remains as to where it'll be and who he'll face, with Gunther being a popular answer among fans. With the former Universal Champion confirming he'll be stepping back in the ring this summer, fans are now buzzing about potential final opponents, and we'll find out for certain later this year. Now, Mercedes Mone may no longer be a part of WWE, but at one point she was pitched as a Royal Rumble winner until a top executive turned down the idea with someone else in mind. At the time, Vince McMahon remained firmly controlling WWE, and with his booking often making little to no sense to the wrestlers and the fans watching worldwide. According to Fightful Select, many people pitched for Mone, then Sasha Banks, to win the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble match, but that didn't happen thanks to Vince McMahon. The then chairman took complete charge of the booking of the match, which even caused TJ Wilson, who oversees women's matches in WWE, to temporarily walk away. Instead of Banks, McMahon wanted Ronda Rousey to win the match and even wanted her to eliminate all 29 other women, but she eventually won by eliminating just 4 other stars. When McMahon was making his plans, Rousey had not wrestled in 2.5 years for WWE, while Banks was a top name and a regular on TV, but Vince wanted Rousey instead. McMahon also didn't help with the booking of cameo appearances, as surprise entrants in the match had no real plans in the Women's Rumble match. McMahon told those surprises to get in and out of the match as quickly as possible, with Summer Rae, Sarah Logan, and Melina all lasting a minute or less in the match. As for Banks, she'd walk out of WWE that same year, frustrated with the company's handling of her, and one has to wonder if McMahon's Rumble meddling played a factor in her exit. Recently, a list of names went viral online as these were names WWE had trademarked, and now we know who will be using some of these names going forward. On the latest episode of WrestleVotes Radio, it was shared that these names will be used by some of the WWE ID and Next in Line athletes who have joined WWE. Darcy Khan from Stockbridge, Georgia will be known as Mason Holiday, while WWE Performance Center recruit Darren Goborn will work as Chantel Monroe. Chase Hatch of Arizona State University will be Tate Wilder, while Cameron Gagnon of Brown University will be competing as Braxton Cole. Trellian Williams, an ex-NFL defensive for the Miami Dolphins, is already known as Trill by some, and he'll be working under the name Trill London. The task now will be for these aspiring athletes to turn their new names into household names, and we'll have to see who rises to the occasion and who fails to deliver as part of WWE. More from TNA Wrestling, and for years AJ Styles was synonymous with the company and to this day is considered one of the biggest names to ever step foot in the Impact Zone. On this week's Impact, AJ Francis and Casey Navarro kicked off the season premiere of their First Class Penthouse, and Francis teased having a phenomenal guest. This line and others left fans excited to see AJ Styles, and sure enough, Francis's guest was an AJ, but it was actually himself, much to the disappointment of the live crowd. Addressing the fans, Francis said that the other guy left TNA to make money at the other place, and said that he left the other place to save TNA. With the TNA WWE partnership, fans shouldn't count out Styles one day being a part of TNA again, but on this occasion, AJ Francis succeeded in trolling the live crowd. Now, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven have not been featured on AEW programming in some time, and with Maria recently confirming her exit, fans have been wondering about the tag team. During a Q&A, PW Insider's Mike Johnson shared that the pair are still a part of AEW, but there's no clear reason why they're not being used, leaving fans wondering when they'll be on TV again. We've got a huge match confirmed for AEW Revolution that was confirmed during the recent Collision tapings, so if you don't want to be spoiled, skip the next 40 seconds of the video. Collision was taped this past Wednesday after Dynamite, and during the taping, Mariah May ambushed Toni Storm backstage and delivered a Storm Zero on the stage. May declared that she not only wants the Women's World Championship back, but she wants a Hollywood ending at the Revolution pay-per-view on March 9th. After the surprising roll-up finish to their Grand Slam showdown, many had predicted that a rematch was coming, and fans won't have to wait long to see it. With May winning in London and Storm in Brisbane, Revolution will be the rubber match, and perhaps the last in what has been one of the best women's storylines AEW has ever seen. And we are ending as we started, with The Rock as the final boss is stepping into the underworld of paradise with a brand new film in the works alongside some major names. Deadline reports that Dwayne Johnson is teaming up with Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Emily Blunt for a Hawaii-set crime epic described as The Departed meets Goodfellas. The project, backed by A24, will tell the true story of a charismatic mob boss's rise to power in the 1960s and 70s Hawaii, taking on rival syndicates as well as corporate giants in a war for control. Deadline adds that Johnson and Blunt pitched the idea to Scorsese and DiCaprio, bringing the Hollywood giants on board for what could be one of the biggest crime dramas in years. Blunt and Johnson are also working on A24's The Smashing Machine, proving that the WWE icon is ready to dominate Hollywood's most elite acting circles. The question now is whether Johnson will be able to hold his own in a Scorsese crime epic alongside DiCaprio. Could this be his defining dramatic role? Only time will tell.